Good day, friends. Welcome to our Power is Within podcast. I'm your host, Chasmith, and my mission for this podcast is to inspire you to take your power back and to realize that you are the healer that you have been looking for all along. We are capable of healing in mind, body, and soul. So, welcome to a new week and a new episode. What a week it's been for me. I'm recording this on Monday, one day before this episode releases, and yeah, it's been an experience. I moved to Florida about 1.5 years ago, and we just experienced our first hurricane. However, if I'm being technical, by the time it reached us, it was considered tropical storm with hurricane gust. But it was quite an experience. And I have to say that just like I was grateful to have my tools through COVID, I was also so grateful to have my tools through this storm. And this storm really showed me the areas in my life that I've really built resilience, which has been really awesome. We actually lost power from Wednesday last week until Sunday PM. Also lost our internet and cellular, hence why I am doing everything for this episode today. But losing power has its advantages because, like, for example, it's an excuse to light candles and have less of that just buzzing sensation moving through your house. With that said, I was also so grateful to have power back on last night. It has really taught me how much I appreciate power and how often sometimes it can be easy to get so caught up in life that we can forget to stop and just really appreciate these things that we have access to, like stoves and refrigerators. It seems just so common that it's like we almost forget to bask in gratitude and appreciation for these gifts. But yeah, it's a blessing, it's a gift, and I was jumping for joy last night when all the power came back, so yay. Super grateful that it came on in time for me to get this episode up and running. And so yeah, let's move on with it. In light of this experience, I say all this to get to our challenge of the week, which is very simple: gratitude. What are you grateful for? Remember that no matter how bad things seem sometimes, there's always a reason to also be grateful. And I didn't say only be grateful, I just said also be grateful. Because being grateful for what we do have that is good does not diminish or discredit the hard stuff that we might be going through. So I feel like sometimes in conversation, I hear people feel like when you're trying to help them be in gratitude, that you're dismissing what's not good. Like, oh, I have this wrong and this wrong and this wrong, and I can't get out of bed. So what do I have to be grateful for? I shouldn't be grateful. I don't want a toxic positivity and all these things. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be either or. It can be and. So I can still feel like I'm recovering from, certain stress or dis-ease in my body and still be grateful for the good that I'm surrounded by every day. Just a little bit of tidbit out there to think about and ponder. And yeah, so maybe right now you can just hit pause and take a moment and just really allow yourself to be wherever you are in this moment and think about what you have to be grateful for in your life. I actually just started a 31-day October What's Good challenge with a friend of mine. We will basically just text each other every single day and say what's going good today, what's going well, or what we're grateful for. If you want to join me on this challenge, just send me a DM every day telling me what's good each day in your life, and I will respond to you with something that's going well for me. All right. Getting into our episode today, our guest. As promised, we do have another recovery story. This one is from Felipe, and he shares with us how he recovered from fibromyalgia, amongst a few other symptoms and discomforts. we also get into what he's learned along the way. And I'll give you a hint. Body awareness is a huge one for him, and movement is medicine. You all know how I feel about movement by now. I do feel like it's magic. It's just about finding the right dose of movement for you. Please enjoy this chat with Felipe today, and don't forget to share this episode with a friend who could also benefit from hearing another wonderful recovery story. All right, Felipe, thank you so much for being here with me today to share your story.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to chat with you. I first came across your story through your videos that you've been recently posting on YouTube, which is really awesome. And I thought this is a great story. So I think what I'd like to have us do to start is actually just um, I know that your videos were in reference to specifically fibromyalgia and recovering from that. I was curious if there was any other symptoms or issues that you were dealing with through the recovery process, or that you were recovering from in addition to fibromyalgia.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, I was going through a lot of stress, anxiety, depression. I don't know, I'm not sure. I cannot self-diagnose, but I was in a really bad period of my life, feeling really down. So it started at the end of 2017. Yeah, 2017, around November, December. So during that time, I already had back pain from a few years ago, because when I was really young, I remember my mom saying like, "Be careful with your posture. What's your posture? You're gonna end up having back pain." So I was very concerned. I was overly concerned about posture. So I always made sure that I put myself in a straight position, in a perfect posture, but at the same time I was contracting my back in order to get to that position. So I was creating more tension in my lower back. So my lower back got used to this tension and it was always tight. And then I thought I had a physical problem, and it went like for years, but I still kept living with it, kept working, kept doing my stuff with some restrictions. At that time, I used to avoid like doing squats, deadlifts, like because I was associating pain to movement, any sort of movements like bending down and lots and rounding my spine. I was very concerned about that, so I kind of programmed myself to have this pain, this tension. I was putting myself in a state of tension without realizing it. And
Mm,
then after a few years, I was like lifting heavy at the gym, and then I started feeling my neck, and I never felt my neck before. And then my neck was super tight. I went to physio, I went to the cupping, acupuncture, everything. Nothing worked, and it's still super tight, full of pain. I thought there was something wrong with me. So I went to the doctor, asked for an MRI. So I had a scan of my spine done, my whole spine, because at that time I was feeling cervical, thoracic, and lumbar and lower back. So I had a scan through my whole spine. I think it took it like 3 hours, a few hours. And so neck, everything okay. Upper back, thoracic, spine, everything okay. Lower back, lumbar, everything okay. And then I didn't know what was wrong. At that time, I stopped working because I was afraid of hurting myself, and the tension was increasing more and more. So I ended up going back to my country. That I'm originally from Brazil, and I was living in the UK at that time. Now I'm back in the UK. So I went back to Brazil. I went to see a doctor, and then he said, "Oh, you're really young, and you have all these pains." And at that time, I was 26, 27. And then he pressed some trigger points in my body. He pressed my wrists, my elbows, my back, and said, "Do you feel pain here?" I said, "Yes." "Do you feel pain here?" "Yes." He pressed the trigger points. He asked me a few questions and then say, "Oh, this is fibromyalgia." And I said, "What is that? Is there a cure for it?" Say, I mean, you cannot say there is no cure, but You have to figure it out. You have. He didn't give me a clear answer, to be honest. He gave me like some sort of antidepressant medication for anxiety, and then I went to check another doctor because I wasn't happy with it. And after this diagnosis, I went to Google and I googled fibromyalgia. What is it? And then when I first thing that I noticed on Google says there is no cure for that. I said, no way. I'm not gonna accept to be living with this condition. I don't want to live with pain. No one wants to. And I was always healthy and full of energy, full of strength. And I don't want to live with this thing. So I'll find a way to get rid of it. And then after I went to check with another doctor, so how does it call a neurologist, right? Yeah. So and she said the same thing, fibromyalgia. And after that, I started associating pain to movement more and more. I was afraid to move. I stopped all the activities. I stayed in bed because I said maybe if I rest, my muscles will relax. I'll feel better. And then when I was laying in bed all day long, I started feeling some burning sensations, flares in my body, like random cramps, muscle cramps, electric shocks in the body, like forearm, calves, thighs. It was like super random. And then I realized that lack of movement wouldn't fix me. So I started doing more research, and then I had the Audible, the to listen to audiobooks at that time, and I went to look for books related to back pain, and I found the book Healing Back Pain by Dr. John Sarno. And then at first I refused the idea when he said like the pain could be related to emotional stress and anxiety and certain personality traits like high achievers, perfectionists, people like who really want to do well and at the same time are insecure, are like overwhelmed. So all the things checked, and but at first I denied. I said no, I don't think it's mental. I mean, what most people get wrong about being mental, like they think the pain is not real, but it is really real because it's a process from the brain that deprives our muscle from oxygen and blood flow. So because of these patterns, this wiring of the brain, the person really has pain. And when people say you gotta be careful when you say, "Oh, the pain was mental," because some people think the pain is not there, but it is there because the brain sends the signs to deprive the muscles from oxygen and from mild blood flow deprivation as well. So it's enough to cause pain. It doesn't cause damage, but cause pain, cause tension in the body. So anyway, I refused the idea at first, and then after I was like, okay. I tried different things. I went to physio. I remember they used to do some muscle release, some type of massage to release my muscle. And the physio said, oh, maybe you have these pains because your spine is too straight. There's not much curvature. Because I always was concerned about posture, wants to be in a straight posture. So my spine I have like a really good posture in general because I was super concerned about that. I always made sure I kept myself straight and erect. But they say, oh, maybe it's the lack of curvature, which wasn't it. And then I believed it. I said, okay, maybe that's it. I need to keep coming to this physiotherapy. They're going to fix my spine and they're going to handle my muscles in a way that's going to reshape my spine. So that's what they told me. But then after 1 year of physiotherapy, I went to physio. They released the muscle, got slightly better, but then still the pain kept coming back because I was treating the symptom, not the cause, not the root. So I realized that it wasn't true. So I went back to the Dr. John Sarno's book, and then I said, okay, now I'm gonna accept it. I've tried everything. I'm gonna accept it. So I accept that it was the brain that was causing it, that I was wired to feel pain, that it became a cycle, that I was afraid of movement, that I was anticipating pain from movement, I was associating pain, I was thinking if I squat down, if I bend down, I'm gonna have pain. If I have a bad posture, I'm gonna have pain. If I sleep in a bad position, I'm gonna have pain. So I realized that I was making myself sick, and my body has have learned it, my brain have learned it. So I had to break out of all these patterns, and I start seeing other stuff around that time, like Dr. John Dispenza talks about like being the new you, breaking out of patterns, unlearning some things. And I said, if I learn these patterns, I can unlearn them. I'm gonna unlearn these patterns of pain. So I started practicing exposure therapy. That's lots of psychiatrists. They treat their patients with exposure therapy. When the person is afraid of something, you expose the person to the closest thing to it until the person is no longer afraid, until the person is braver. So I started exposing myself to movement again, to squatting, to exercising, and I was telling myself, exercise does not cause pain. Movement does not cause pain. And then I started teaching myself. At first, I had flares, I had pain, but then it started going away because I was convincing myself more and more and more that movement didn't cause pain. I trained myself to be in bad posture in a relaxed way because there's actually some research that's showing that posture does not equal pain, does not cause pain. Bad posture does not cause pain. So I started practicing being in a considered bad posture, relaxed posture, and say it's okay, it's okay. I practice going to exercise, exercising my back. I practiced doing squats and everything. So I was slowly reteaching myself how to exercise and how to not uh, how to not be afraid of movements and exercise in general, just making myself stronger. And then by doing that, with the first few weeks, the pain dropped to like by 30%. It was like from 80% of pain, 90%, it went like to 40% of pain. And slowly, gradually convincing myself it's okay, because my body learned this pattern, so I had to unlearn them. Took me a few months. And at that time I said, no, I'm not working, I'm at home, I'm not feeling happy at home. I'm just generating expenses. I need to make money. So I decided to go back to the UK, even though I still have like I had 40% of pain. I came back to the UK, and then first month I was like, okay, I need to work, but still concerned about the pain, waiting for a, a good job, waiting for the job that I wanted. That I was applying to work in a gym at that time, and then this opportunity was delayed, and I had to do something else. I had to do some deliveries on the bicycle, and then I was super concerned about my pain, about my back and everything. After I got a motorbike, started doing deliveries. I still had a little bit of pain the first days, the first weeks, but then it started going away. I started convincing myself that it does not cause pain. Going on the motorbike does not cause pain. So I slowly convinced myself. Then I started working in the gym. Then I started making myself stronger. Then teaching myself how to relax, teaching my body how to relax, and I ended up healing it. And nowadays, I work as a personal trainer, and I see people with tension every day, like tension in the neck and the traps. So the trapezius muscle tends to accumulate lots of tension. Then it can cause restrictions on the shoulder. When people have like frozen shoulder, it's usually tension in the trapezius muscle. And then I notice some patterns when people exercise. For example, they shrug. People who have, I can spot when a person has neck pain. Basically, if the person has like, if they have overdeveloped trapezius, if their trapezius is more developed the other parts of the body. And I noticed that when they exercise, they shrug, they bring their shoulders up. So they are overactivating the neck, the trapezius. I can see they're contracting the neck. They're trying to work out their legs, and they are feeling their neck because the person is over contracting the neck and not focus on the leg. So sometimes it's just habits, but it's oftentimes it goes together with emotions and repressed emotions, like Dr. Sarno talks about in his book. But then it becomes a pattern. The person starts to compensate with the trapezius, with the shoulders, with the contraction of the back, and then the person doesn't know how to activate the other parts of the body, the other muscles. So they, because of this habit of contraction of the neck, of contraction of the lower back, oftentimes when people go to exercise, they use the same habit of the same pattern of over contraction of the wrong muscles. So nowadays, I help people with chronic pain. I tell them how to activate the muscles properly, to keep their shoulders down when exercising, to feel, to try different grips, to relax the shoulders, to relax the neck, to don't force the neck, don't contract the neck. In the end, what I see that causes pain is over contraction of the muscles. And then if the person is stressed, if the person is depressed, is going through some difficult moments in her life, then the person tends to contract the body. I mean, I think body language, I think the posture of someone and the facial expressions tells a lot about someone, because you can see the facial express sadness, anger, or you can see the body language of the person that is like, it's a bit sad and it's a bit contracted. So I mean, the more awareness we develop, the more we learn how to note different patterns. So everything has a pattern. Most things, they have patterns. So I just been noticing what are the patterns that cause chronic pain. I start writing a book about chronic pain, and the reason that I decide to start my YouTube channel is just to give it back, because I'm grateful that I healed myself from this condition, and I know when the person is like, when the person hits like rock bottom, when the person is like in a really bad period, I know things difficult to get out of there. But if the person believes and perceives, everyone is able to heal themselves. You gotta break out of these patterns of this worrying. You have to lose the fear of movement. You don't have to associate pain to any sort of movement. You should just relax, exercise, make yourself stronger. Do not anticipate the failure. Do not anticipate the pain. Tell yourself everything's okay. Try to feel safe and get stronger. That's what I would say.
That's awesome. That's a really cool story. I mean, so give me an idea of timeline here. You said that you first got diagnosed with what the doctors called fibromyalgia around the end of 2017, but you said for many years prior to that you were already dealing with all that back pain, which then turned into neck pain, which led to this fibromyalgia diagnosis. And then you went home to Brazil. At what point, what year did you go back to the UK?
2019. So I went back to Brazil 2018 March, and then March 2019 I came back to London because I realized that I had to burn the bridge, burn the boats, because I was at home. I was with my mom, and I wasn't like in a good space mentally, because you're not working, you don't have a routine, you there's nothing going on for you there. So I said I need to push myself, to challenge myself more, because I feel better already. But I know if I push myself, if I burn the boats, and I said now I have to work or I will starve. So now I know I have a better leverage to heal myself from this condition.
Yeah, absolutely. So a year after you kind of, let's see, because yeah, you learned about Dr. Sarno, but you took a year away from that. You're like, nope, I'm going to go try all these other things. Then you went back to him, was like, I'm going to do this. And then you went back to UK. All this time between 2017 and 2019, when you really finally said, I'm going to believe in this work that Dr. Sarno talks about, and I'm going to like really heal myself. Um, Prior to that, like the year of physio, the year you got your diagnosis, how did that shift your mental and emotional state? Did you notice a lot more fear? Like showing itself when you got that diagnosis and Googled that there was no cure? Were you stressed more? Did you feel like kind of self-devaluation, like beating yourself up, or have any kind of questions or concerns like how did I get here? Like what just where were you at in that regard?
I mean, I was really angry actually. And Sarno talks about inner rage, repressed emotions. I notice I have this habit of repressed emotions, probably from childhood trauma and stuff like that. So I just became angry, and then one of the routes that I took as well, I say, what's the logic here? If it says that repressed emotions cause this pain, this tension, I'm gonna pay attention to everything that I could be repressing, everything that bothers me. I'm gonna pay attention to it. I remember at that time I came back to the UK and I had an ex girlfriend, and then she said, "Oh, you're more critic of things. You're criticizing more things." And I said, "Yeah, because now I'm expressing more because I went through this road. I said I need to express this. I need to put this out. I don't want to all this stuff, all these emotions inside my body stuck." So I went through a period of stress, and then, but as soon as I accepted the diagnosis, I was like, how can I get rid of this? How can I challenge this? How can I break out of these patterns? The worst period of my life was when I decided to stay in bed, when I stopped movement completely.
Mhm.
So then I felt sad, I felt depressed, I felt like, oh, this sucks. But I was repressing. I still know. I know I was repressed. I was in a coping mechanism. Like, I know I'm gonna get rid of this. Projecting a better future was like, I know I'm gonna get rid of this. I never accepted it fully. I always told myself that I would get rid of this because, like, fibromyalgia is just a diagnosis they give for random pains that they don't know where it's coming from. Sometimes they say like repetitive movements they're gonna cause pain. So it's sometimes it's a life sentence for a person because some people it's for some people it's hard to get rid of it, and they take what the doctor says, say the doctor is right, and now I'm gonna have this diagnosis, there's no cure. And if the person accept that, then it's hard to recover. I mean, you should,
Yeah.
yeah, open your mind and say, I'm gonna be able to recover from this.
Yeah, I mean, we understand the power of belief is very strong. So if you get a diagnosis like that and then you just accept it, yeah, I mean that's going to be a reality. Just like if you say, "Well, it's just a bad shoulder," then it's probably going to be a bad shoulder.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I do see too, like when somebody sometimes when somebody gets a diagnosis like that and they don't have that will to persist and like say, "No, I don't accept this as my reality." If they do just accept it, and then I see like a lot of times gets worse, you know? Like then they end up with like more pain or more weird symptoms because they've accepted it as their reality.
Exactly. They think it's part of who they are, it's their identity. So I'm a person with fibromyalgia. It's funny, one things that I've done, I say to myself, like last month, I started pursuing more this fibromyalgia thing with my YouTube channel. And then I told myself I'm gonna get in all the Facebook groups that talks about fibromyalgia, and I'm gonna try to spread my story, to spread the positivity and hope that people can get rid of it. And then lots of groups, I had terrible reaction. People thought I was a scammer, that I was trying to benefit, and I never charged anything, nothing. I always gave everything away for free because I think everyone should be pain free. I don't think it's fair for people to have pain. I would like to quote someone on that. Someone would like to work with me privately. Okay, perfect. But I don't do for this reason. I just start to give back. So I try to spread this message through some fibromyalgia chronic pain groups. I saw some people there. It was so sad what I saw because some people were stuck thinking that they had fibromyalgia, that there is no cure, that people that say they heal themselves, they were liars, they were scammers, that there is no cure, and there is part of the community where we are the fibromyalgia sufferers. So the person adopted it as an identity, which is really sad. And the person to get rid of it has to be open minded, has to open their minds, has to the person has to try new routes. I don't know what can I say. It's just you gotta open your mind and really try it and not believe it's a life sentence, it's a life condition, because it's not. It's not only me. I've seen more people that heal themselves from this condition. It's just you gotta believe and do the work.
Absolutely. So when you went back to UK in 2019, at what point did you feel like you finally really felt full relief?
After about a year, I would say
About
yes.
another year. So
Yeah.
it was a couple year journey that you were really like really teaching your brain new habits and new patterns and reframing.
Yeah, I mean, I developed more body awareness because I started paying attention how can I activate my muscles better, my scapula, my lower back, my shoulders. I want my lats. I wanted to activate my body in different ways when I exercise because I noticed I had this pattern of over contracting the lower back. And I see that all the time. People, they're going to squat, they feel lower back pain. Why? They're over activating their lower back. They're over contracting their lower back and not relying on the legs. So body awareness is important. You know how to activate your muscles properly. When you squat down, when you bend your knees, when you bend your leg, which muscles are you using? Are you using the leg? Are you doing hip hinge? You drive your hips back, or are you pressing your lower back in order to compensate this movement? So that's the things that I taught myself and I teach my clients nowadays is how to activate your muscles properly. And in general, I learned how to do better with my mental health. Just I meditate every day. I do journaling. I express my emotions. I my my mind's different now. I'm grateful that I've been through all this fibromyalgia journey, all this chronic pain journey, because nowadays my awareness is much better. I know what's caused pain. I know lots of people they have pain that's caused by the brain, but that's caused by their emotions. And nowadays I'm able to help people with this condition. So yeah, I'm grateful for this experience.
That's so awesome. And I was going to actually ask you what your favorite tools were because I know it sounds like you did a lot of reframing, like talking to your brain, creating new belief systems, exposure therapy. But in addition to that, you were also working on, you're saying meditation, journaling, and just being more aware of what emotional state you were in and actually not being afraid to express these emotions.
Yes. So first, I said I have to lose the fear of movement. So how can I do that? Exercise, because exercise you're putting some effort, you're putting your body through some resistance. So exercise and telling myself, and then CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. Lots of therapists use it nowadays. That is like I said, reframing everything. You say, okay, what else could this mean? What not? So Tony Robbins says an interesting quote: "Nothing in life has a meaning except the meaning that I give it." So I start giving meaning to things. I say, no, this does not cause pain. This is making me stronger. So when a lazy person is going upstairs, they say, oh, a bunch of stairs. I have to go all the way upstairs now. I reframe it to like, oh, workout. I'm gonna get stronger. My legs are gonna get stronger. It's time to practice on my agility. So reframing everything in a positive way, seeing an opportunity to get better and get stronger. Then yeah, and then after journaling, express the emotions, exercise, and then I've been a martial arts, been practicing martial arts for a long time as well. I stopped during this time, yeah, but then after I got a punching bag. I have a punching bag at home. When I go to the gym, there's a punching bag there. I'm always punching and kicking and releasing. And when I do with my clients on personal training, I do some pad work with them because I know it's important to release all these emotions, all this stress. And when you punch, when you kick, it's a way to release. So yeah, I found ways to release. I found ways to teach myself how to get better and reframe everything. And yeah,
That's so awesome. So you said that prior to fibromyalgia, you did used to do martial arts and then you had to take a break and now you got back into it.
yeah.
Did you work out also before all this happened?
Yes, I did. But at that time, I never done squats or or deadlifts because I was
Okay.
afraid of hurting my back. I don't know. I think in Brazil there's a culture that people there. I've seen more people like that they are afraid of hurting their backs. I don't know where this myth comes from, but the other day I was researching like place countries with most chronic pain, and I saw Brazil on top. I saw Brazil in top five, and then I saw Lebanon, and then one of a correlation that I was thinking is safety as well, because when you come from a place that's not very safe, you don't feel safe, you are concerned about death, so your body's tense, and then you start associating with this pain. One of the mechanisms that I use as well is from that I learned from The Power of Now, from by Eckhart Tolle. That is, he says, observe your mind, observe your thoughts. Do not identify yourself with your mind, with your thoughts. You are the observer of them. So you don't need to react to of your thoughts. And same, when I had tension in my body, I stopped associating with it like it was part of me. Say it's there and it's going away. Even I imagine myself, I'm breathing into my back, I'm inhaling and exhaling, send some air to this body part so I can relax. So being the observer is important, not identify it as part of you or not identify yourself as part of it.
Right, absolutely. And so you worked out before, but were you actually a trainer too before all this happened? Up
No,
Oh.
I used to work in a bank, actually, desk jobs.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, big change. So then after you started getting better, you were like, "All right, I'm gonna be a personal trainer." Like, you
Yeah,
really put yourself into the movement, community.
I've been doing martial arts for a long time, and then I stopped it. I started at 11, then I stopped, then 16 I stopped. I started it and I pursued for a long time. And then I started gym at 19. But then, like I said, I was avoiding squats, I was avoiding deadlifts because I was afraid of bending down, of rounding my spine. And then when I tried to squat, I felt pain. I felt lower back pain because at that time I didn't know how to exercise properly, so I was over contracting my lower back when squatting. So I started associating it to pain, so I didn't do it. And then after a few years, I was training again. Then it was when I had the neck pain because I was over contracting my neck. Then I started associating with it. And then after during the healing process, getting stronger, and then going back into martial arts. And actually, I'm going to do a charity mat for mental health in a couple of months. So there's some charities here in the UK, and they have an event called White Collar Boxing that people go to do competition. It's an amateur level, but it's good that raise money to charity. You have to sell some tickets, you have to pay some fee, and it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. I have two fights this year, so this is a Muay Thai amateur, and then in the end in December, so this is October for Muay Thai, and in December I have one for Jiu Jitsu grappling that I'm training back again now, and yeah, I think it's important to be in touch with your body and get stronger, and I think that should be the mindset.
Mhm. Absolutely. So you are doing those things. You're a trainer now. You help people one on one in person through movement with their chronic pain by helping them to create new movement patterns, new contraction patterns, if you will. What else are you up to?
Learning them how to activate the muscles properly.
Mhm.
Yeah, the main thing that I see, people don't know how to activate their muscles properly. That's why they end up with pain. Of course, the emotions, I can spot when the person has like repressed emotions. And I think because we live in a society and we have to be polite, and then oftentimes people are not authentic in their repressing emotions, and they are so mechanic. There's no It's not genuine. So when I see people with a lot of repressed emotions, I can tell. When I see people, they shrug, they have tension and pain. But
Mhm.
yeah, now I'm just training my clients, training myself. I started a YouTube channel. I was talking about fibromyalgia. Now I'm starting another YouTube channel. I just want to put myself out there and spread positivity, I guess.
So you have one YouTube channel for your pain journey, and you have another new one now. What is that one on?
Yeah, I created one actually in Brazilian Portuguese because I wanted to show the lifestyle here. It's more like vlogging styles. Today I was editing my first video, but I'm still figuring out. So I do want to move online at some certain point. I like working in person with people. I think it's better. I think it's different, but online is the future. So I want to create my presence online for sure. And I think
Okay.
you through online, uh, with using online tools, you can impact more lives at the same time.
Okay. So your two YouTube channels, one you have in English and one's in Portuguese.
Yes.
Okay, but same message, same concept.
No, actually, just I went to the beach. I got my skateboard. I went around the city, and then I started recording it to say, okay, this is a nice trip to do on a sunny day. You want to do something fun, go to the beach, and and then the other day I was vlogging. I went to wrestling, and I was recording it, and then just pretty much showing my lifestyle.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Very cool. That's the one in Portuguese.
Yes.
Okay, so kind of more of like an inspirational channel.
Yes, pretty much to help people to get out of their home and go enjoy because sometimes you get stuck now with internet, cell phones. People are all the time connected on the phone, laying in bed, watching TV. I think people should be moving, should be outside, and should be enjoying.
Do you think in general movements are really like very important integral part of healing and just feeling our best?
Definitely, because motivation comes with action. What most people get wrong is because they wait for motivation to move, to act. But first you act, then you get the motivation. So you change your physiology, you change your mind. Make yourself move. Don't think too much. Your mind's gonna seek comfort. Our minds tend to seek comfort and pleasure and avoid discomfort and avoid pain. So if you avoid pain to certain things, you're going to avoid it. One of the things that I noticed in myself that I was locking my body because I was associating negative things. I was resisting certain activities to a certain degree. So when you don't think much, you just put yourself through it. You just expose yourself. Just go for a walk. Just go for a run. Just keep moving. You change. You feel better afterwards. You thank yourself. It's never the case that you go exercise, go do something, and you regret it. Most cases you don't go, and then you regret not going for it. So you gotta move to feel more energized, to feel more motivated. Move first, then the motivation will come after.
hmm What do you think about people though who in their past their tendency was to do too much? You know, like the people and you read about this in Dr. John Sarno's books about like that type A kind of go, like push yourself too hard. How do you like what's your advice for people who have been in that position where maybe they did do too much exercise, push too hard, they weren't connected to their bodies, they didn't listen to when their body was saying no, and then they ended up in chronic pain, be it fibromyalgia or just whatever form of chronic pain, and now they're at a place where they're trying to reacclimate and create new pathways around exercise because maybe they ended up with a lot of fear, but there's this like weird place where they're also know their tendency to do too much. Like, what's your suggestions or advice for somebody who is trying to find what the right balance is?
Body awareness. It's important to have body awareness. To know how to activate your muscles properly. If you're pushing yourself beyond the point that, for example, you want to work on your lats, you want to work on your upper back, and then you're pushing yourself to the point that you're having neck pain, you're feeling tension in your neck, in the other parts of the body, then it's time to stop. When I exercise with my clients, I let them exercise. I don't have a correct, like I don't have a set number of reps before the workout to say, I want to see you perform first. Then I'll tell you how many reps you're going to do. Because we go nearly to failure, but when I see they start compensating with other muscles because they're the primary muscle that I want to target is getting tired, then I then tell them it's time to stop. One more, stop. Okay, rest. Because you need to know which muscles you're activating. You need to know when your body's getting tense. Feel your body. I think that for having chronic pain in the past and healed myself from it, I have a better body awareness. I can feel my body. I don't get sick anymore because when I'm nearly get sick, I stop. If I'm eating too much and I'm nearly get sick, I stop. If I feel like it's time to stay without eating for a while, have a cold shower, go for a run, the things that I feel that are healing for me, I go for it. I can feel my body's just learning these patterns. Every time you push yourself beyond certain points, you might increase your neck tension. You might increase your lower back tension. So just push yourself to the point where you're activating the target muscle, the muscle that you want to target. If you're feeling that you're getting more tense, then maybe it's time to rest a little bit or breathe a bit more.
How do you know for you the difference between when your body's requesting something versus your mind demanding it? Like, how do you know when you said the example of like something about taking a cold shower? How do you know when your body genuinely wants that cold shower versus your mind's just saying, oh, you should do this because we've read that it's good for us?
So if I'm feeling a bit sick, a bit unease, like I had times of binge eating, like overeating, and I'm not overweight or anything, but I just sometimes we seek comfort food, and then it's something that I've been harder on myself now because I don't like anything to have power over me. But then if I eat too much to the point that I feel kind of sick, I think the things that heal me the most for my stomach that makes me feel better is a cold shower. I think it helps with my digestion. I feel like it helps with my digestion. When I go for a run, I feel like it helps with my digestion. I feel like if my energy is going down, if I'm feeling a bit sick, a bit uneasy, I need to put myself through something that's going to spike my adrenaline, either running or cold shower, so I can feel my body. I feel this unease in the body. I feel like the body's not 100%.
Gotcha. So for you, it's really just your own personal awareness through your own experimentation and just being really like just paying attention.
Yeah, so you can feel sometimes your throat. If you drink, for example, energy drinks, I noticed I was drinking energy drinks, I start to feel like my throat was a bit weird, and then after that, I was getting sick. Or every time I got bloated, every time my stomach wasn't right, I got sick. So it's just pay attention. When is my stomach getting full? How is my throat? You learn these patterns of the body. You pay attention that prior to getting sick, there's something happening. There's something weird in your throat, in your belly. You're feeling bloated, and even impacts with mental health. I feel like if I hurt my gut, I had kind of stomach issues for a few years, and then I taught myself how to eat better, and then I'm better now. But it impacts your neuroserotonin production. If your gut's not healthy, it can make you depressed. So it's important to don't overeat. Eat to 70 to 80% before you get full. Like eat until you get satisfied. Don't eat until you get full. I think it's a really good way to avoiding getting sick.
Gotcha. Very awesome. Seems like you're just very aware now and very in tune for you, what works for you and your body, which is really awesome place to be. And it doesn't sound like you were there before.
Nah, before it was just, I guess, self sabotage. You do things, you get sick, and you don't know why. And then after start paying attention, and then I just figured out like I learned my patterns, how to be in control of my life, how to manage everything in a way that I'm not depriving myself from energy. I want to make the most of my energy because I think having energy is the best thing that we can have.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, okay, my last question is a question I ask every single person that comes to the show, which is if you were told that you could only share one message with the whole world for the rest of your life, what would that one message be?
Open your mind for new possibilities. Be open minded. that new things will happen and things will surprise you. Never take life for granted. I mean, life is full of opportunities. Every day you have new opportunities. Just make the most of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And where can people connect with you and follow along with your story?
So, my YouTube channel is the Progress Journey, that where I talk about fibromyalgia and chronic pain.
Hmm.
My Instagram, I kind of post more personal life, but if anyone wants to send me a message to connect, it's Felipe Pingit. It's FELIPEPINGIT at Instagram.com. Yes, awesome. Thank you for having me here. I hope more people can benefit from this story. And if you want anyone need any advice and help, just let me know. Just send me a message.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that is a wrap. Hope you felt inspired in some way or you learned something new. That's always my goal for this podcast. Please click subscribe in your favorite podcast app and leave a review on Apple Podcast if you have not done so already. It helps me so much and it really means the world to me. Send me what's good so that I can keep up and what you're grateful for. And until next time, you know the drill. Make this week great.